All right, we're back for another edition of the Astro Weather with a semblance of a studio. It is by no means fully complete, but for today's purposes, it will do just fine. So I welcome all nine of you who are here and are participating, observing, participating, being a part of a covalent structure known as the Astro Weather. What's happened, everybody? Yeah, it's been a few. I hope everybody had a really good Christmas. It was really interesting just from an astrological perspective because over on Twitter, I just find Astro Twitter, I'm starting to feel like get off the lawn guy, which sucks really. But Astro Twitter is, oh my God, the moon is in Gemini on Christmas night, and it's barely separating from Neptune, and there are at least 7 different malefics connected to the moon in Gemini. I swear to God, I saw a post like this. I'm like, why the fuck can you get out of bed? Just stay in your room for 48 hours, right? I mean, I love astrology, don't get me wrong, but how it's used at times is so paralytic that I can't even. It's the word disempowering really comes to mind. Instead of being empowering, it winds up becoming disempowering. I had a fine time on Christmas Eve, knowing full well. Look, I understand where the person is coming from. Don't get me wrong. As we talked about this, we looked at the moon in Taurus coming into Christmas, and then after Christmas, here we go, full moon in Cancer. Like those would have been like ideal, sort of warm and cozy and toasty and sort of nostalgic Christmas nights, right? But I had a fine time. People were chatty. There was a lot of conversation. It wasn't deep conversation, but really, who needs deep conversation at Christmas? You're only going to get stuck in quicksand if you have deep conversation at Christmas. You want to keep things light, right? Hi, how are you? What's going on? How you been? If you know something about somebody, you reference that thing that you know about that person, which does a couple things. Well, one, it knows that you're paying attention to them and their story. And number two, if there's anything interesting about their story, well, you get to get caught up in it, right? And well, you get caught up, not caught up in it. But it was fine. It was a I don't know, very conversational Christmas. Who else is dragging today? I'm actually doing okay. The cats are very active. I mean, it feels good to be in this new studio. I got to thank Dr. Joan here for being a motivating force to help me declutter a lot of this stuff in here. And so we'll be doing shows. It's not complete. The camera setup isn't complete yet, but for today, it will be just fine. You hear Peachy. Peachy is on the CMP. She's a trip, man. She's such a trip. Let's see. We have 50 people in here today. Let's do a quick little roll call. Peachy, come over here. Hey, come here. Come here. Come say hi to people. Come on. She came over to the couch. Come here. Hey. Come here. Come here, you little dingbat. All right, who do we have here? Let's see who we have. We got Diane Evans and my good man DJ MC is Michael
Our Mama from Fontana. Just Jay, what's happening, Just Jay? From the ATX, not too far from here. Diane Evans is in the house. There's my man Thomas Jordan. What's going on, TJ? SJS, Senator Jack Shaw checking in from Massachusetts. Let's see, Mark S. What's going on, brother Mark? Cheyenne Jewel, morning to you. Let's see, it's Maria D'Orange, all the way from France. She's here with us, a cosmic detective on the beat. Road trip 1981. William Powell's. What's happening, William? Let's see. Source, my McMahon. So he's, how do you say this? Cyrus. Is it Cyrus? Cyrus? I apologize for mispronouncing your name. Let's see. Harry Bowie. What's going on, Harry? Hey, Cumulus Cloud. Christmas was great, honestly. Not a lot of fighting, right? I mean, it was cool. The Gemini moon, everybody was chatty. We did have an interesting Astro Weather moment on Christmas. A good friend of the show, Claire, from, well, not far from here, Harper, Texas, originally from Sacramento, was talking about the conditions, the traveling conditions on Christmas Day. And she was reiterating that to her husband, Steve, who's a great guy, and urging Steve to drive very cautiously, which Steve did. And they narrowly escaped a full-on major accident on a freeway in California, where everybody was ultimately okay. So sometimes, the astro weather bears paying attention to. Didn't know I'd be live. Well, I am here. Rita Perea is here as well. What's going on, Rita? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Catherine Kramer, double K. Cosmic Detective is super tired. Scrubby's doing a little name check. What's going on, Tamara? Good to see you. Let's see anybody else. Moon tired. Well, we're coming up on that full moon, aren't we? Boy, it was starting to really launch itself last night. Krista Royce is here from Arizona. Jay Schaefer, also from Arizona. Arizona, yes. There she is. Jake, Gucci to Goach. What's going on, Jake? Good to see Katie Cat. Some crackling about it. Yes, it's peachy. She's stomping up a storm. There's my man Ryan. Good to see you. Premonition. Kelly and kids. Let's see anything about Cassandra Lynn. Gabriella J. Soul Traveler. Orlando's cup of coffee with Scream. Let's see. Yes, Tamara's great for the name checks. Bob. If you're going to call me Bob, call me Bobby. Bobby before Bob. Elizabeth Bryan. What's going on, Elizabeth? Let's see. What else do we have? Moira in NYC. Amy Gelb. We got a big crowd here. Good crowd. All right, I think we're about caught up. We are about caught up. And Lunchbox 81 also checking in. I do not think I'm going to do 15 minutes today. I just want to get the website rebuilt so we have a place. Do you know that I can stream live on Twitter now? Were you aware of that from here? I'm going to start doing that. May as well take advantage of the technology. Am I right? May as well. Sorry, Robert. Oh, that's not. Sorry, William. No problema. It's I'm not going to get into it. All right, here. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do a little share screen action. There's something about the weather. Here we go. There's that full moon in Cancer. I was going to get a haircut, but I'm going to wait. I'll wait till it goes new. You usually want to have your hair cut on the new moon, by the way. Just saying, if you're into the moon thing, haircut with the new moon. Mercury has retrograded back into Sagittarius. It's interesting that we're dealing with the Epstein list with the Mercury retrograde. Oh my God, how long has that thing been out? You know, it really surprised me. On the Epstein list were these two NBA players, Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. Now, Rudy's kind of fruity. Rudy's different. You can tell Rudy is in on it on an international level. And it's funny because I didn't want Draymond Green choking Rudy Gobert. On some level, I kind of understand it. So if you go back to the fateful year of 2020, and it was the Denver Nuggets playing the Utah Jazz, and I believe they were playing in Denver at the time. They had a number of players test positive for COVID, and of course, during the testing phase. And Rudy Gobert was one of them. And so after the game, Rudy Gobert gave a press conference. And what did he do? He acted the fool. He pretended to smear all his germs all over the microphone. And it was like he was duping us, right? Like, Rudy, what are you doing, man? Why are you doing this? I mean, are you in at this level? Turns out probably was. I mean, he was on the Epstein flight log. Anyway, Mercury retrograde here. So we're now having a look at who flew on that plane and how many times, et cetera, et cetera. There's some redacted names. It's going to be interesting, especially as Mercury is right on the porch of Mars. Some people say, well, that's Mimi Kazemi. To some extent, yeah, but really what we have here today is a day of putting your foot in your mouth and wishing that you could take it back. That's Mercury retrograde 24 conjunct. Oh, look who's here. Look who's here. The man. The man is here. It's about time. I tried to get Peachy up here, but she does not have your patience. She does not have your patience nor your presence. Doesn't mean she's not cute and all her peachiness, but you're the guy. There you go. First Jasper sighting. Anyway, this is a foot and mouth right here, and then we've got the square with Neptune. Do not try to cover up something with a little lie today. Do not. If you said something or you did something that was not as forthright and honest as it could have been, do not compound it by trying to tell a slightly lesser version of that story. It will not work. It will boomerang back at you. Do not go there. This is not one of those days where doubling down and tripling down does not make it better. You ever that's been a main theme for about 3 or 4 years now. People just double down and triple down, and it's like if they say it loud enough and long enough, it will be true, and it's not. It's just not true. No. So this is one of those days. You don't even want to half down. Okay, you don't want to half down because the faster you correct your mistake, the easier it is. Right. This is also a very ideologically driven day. There's a lot of "I told you so" in the air. And I don't talk about it very much, but I follow the statistics and I see what's happening to people, and I see what's going on with researchers and scientists the world over who now have second and triple thoughts about what they've done and what they've participated in. That's coming out. It is coming out. This retrograde period will be very important in terms of, well, quote unquote, setting records straight, right? That's a big part of it. And again, what you'll see these medical people double down, triple down, quadruple down. And it is to a point where it's almost irrefutable. we're at the point of irrefutability, and they will blame everything under the sun, with the exception of the thing that was done. And you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes we have to talk in code in these areas. Now, when Mercury does retrograde and go past Mars, boy, that's going to be a really interesting phase. And we're just a few days away from that. And here we're still trying to have some reasonable discourse, right? Some reasonable dialogue. But once Mercury crosses back over and is behind Mars, that's out the window. Even though the sun is at Capricorn 5, Mars is still in Sagittarius and is still on the prowl looking for action. And I don't think it's a good transit, to be honest with you, because you'll still have Mercury behind Mars. Now, whatever version of reason can be found in Mercury in Sagittarius is taking a back seat. Like there's a lot of victim and victim blaming and shaming, and there's just, man, self-righteousness. I mean, even though we're at the end of the year, things are theoretically winding down and people don't want to address certain issues or certain news stories. I don't think we can get out of the zone here. So what are we talking about? New Year's Eve. That's what, 4 nights away. I would say pay really close attention to New Year's Eve. I'm not a fear monger, but I would definitely be on the lookout for events that are questionable or dubious in nature on New Year's Eve. It's a massive loosh farm, and all you need is one or two. How do I say it? Strategically placed individuals in social situations to begin to raise the fear factor. Okay. And this is going on all the way through New Year's. Again, I cannot stress enough about how, if you are going to celebrate, please, please, please use discretion and caution. You also want to be very careful about, where you're doing it in terms of vis-a-vis public and transport. All that stuff with driving is still in the air. Luckily, the conditions here are pretty good. We're going to hit about maybe 60 degrees today. So no brutally cold or wintry Christmas, although I think the temperature is supposed to drop next week. But there's a lot going on here. And my sense is that this has a lot to do with the boiling point. And Neptune, of course, is water, right? And this is fire and heat. This is raising the boiling point. And there are angry people in the world. I was just looking at a video clip where this woman came on and she talked about how her husband owns a gun shop. And illegal aliens are not only allowed, but they're encouraged to come to the gun shop, and they don't have to apply for a license to get a gun. They don't even have to have a license. They just get a gun. Okay. When people start hearing about that, and they will, trust me, they're not going to be very well pleased, because the potential for the consequences around this are not good. Remember, Sagittarius represents people from other countries and cultures, right? And here we have this kind of naked square going on with Neptune. And a lot of it is, I wonder how long the American public's patience is going to last when it comes to feeling squeezed out. Okay, what else we have? Venus 27, Scorpio coming in, sextiling Pluto there. Really good time for bonding. I've been talking about this for a while, because the sextile's been going on for a while. Pallas is in Scorpio, looking a little bit just a little tiny bit like a singleton, which means you have to pay attention to what's going on in the world. Patterns reveal themselves. And in Scorpio, there are deep patterns around money and other people's money, right? Look into it. What are they going to do before the end of the year? What kind of legislation are they going to try and slip in? Are they gone? Like what's happening? Pay attention. Pay attention to ripples in the financial sector, especially when it comes to the C word, also known as crypto. Right there you go. Venus Saturn square. Venus Saturn squares aren't always bad. They're not always bad. They represent working through trial and struggle, and this is what relationships will do. You'll get through things, right? Not every relationship is you wake up every day and somebody brings you breakfast in bed with a daffodil. Doesn't always happen like that. So this is working towards goals, common goals that you have to talk through, work through, establish, right? Give and take, but hanging in there, having some commitment. And when you have the sextile with Pluto, it works out really well. The trine with Neptune resolves itself happily ever after. Things worth fighting for, right? Are good. They're good. And only you know what that is. Right? Only you know how long you want to hang in there with something. But I really like how relationships can dig in and say, okay, we're in this. What do we have to work through? How does it become more fair? How does it become more balanced in some ways? How do we take what we're doing more seriously? And then the outcome is this is great. We got through it, and we're doing fine. So anybody out there go through relationship dynamics right now, this is a really good period. But you have to work a little bit. There's a little bit of heavy lifting involved. Let's see, we've got Venus opposing, but that's kind of really separated, so I'm not going to really talk about that. But so look at that. Zoomed in a little bit. Okay, what else do we have here? Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, Uranus. Mars is separating from Chiron. The true node's getting closer to Chiron. That's interesting. Let's talk about the full moon. So we're definitely coming off of it. I guess it was last night was sort of peaking out. Well, it's still sort of the peak mode. Tonight, I think it'll be around 17 degrees, 18. You'll still be able to see it. It was massive in last night's sky. And this is a really good time. I'm not going to break any new ground here with the Cancer moon, but it's great to hang out and be with family and just kind of hunker down. And if you don't have to go anywhere, if you don't have to risk, getting out here and, do the Mad Max trip, it's fine. And we've got a nice Saturn trine to the moon going on, at least this morning. Last night it was quite good. Just in terms of the angularity of the energy, it was like, okay, we're here, we're in this place. And it felt like we're mostly landed, although there's still a ton of stuff to be put away. But it's functional. We're not living out of boxes, right? So I like the Cancer moon. And again, I'm not going to break any new ground here, but what can you do for yourself? How can you feed yourself? How can you take care of yourself? Because that's one of the things Cancer is about, is self-care. That's one of the main kind of movers and shakers around Cancer: self-care, regulation. Right? You want to get those yin and yangs moving in a circular direction with one another, so that they're in a symbiosis. Right? That's the whole nature. We got a Chiron conjunction or square here. With the moon. To me, the Chiron square has to do with criticism. And if you happen to receive some criticism today, try not to take it too personally. It's part of this larger T-square pattern with the sun. The sun in Capricorn, if it takes criticism personally, it doesn't show it outwardly. It just takes notes, right? So try not to take things too personally. And let's say somebody does say something or does make a remark, and maybe it's true, Maybe somebody's putting their foot in their mouth with a Mercury Mars conjunction. Maybe that's true. Um, then what do you do about it? Listen to it. So you know what? Maybe they got a point there. Try not to take it personally, though. Take it in. And sometimes comments from people will change us. You know, and we'll get better at what we do. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Elementally, we look pretty good today, although there isn't a ton of air, which means that objectivity is perhaps a bit lacking, maybe not enough. But I like today. Today's a good day. I think the bigger issues are going to be over here with Mercury, Mars. There's going to be a lot of invective in there. You know, again, for a time where things are supposed to be shutting down, you're going to hear a lot from the through the media, not from the media. Um, we've got Jupiter. Jupiter's about to go direct again, isn't it? It's been retrograde a long time. Long time. I tell you, it's fascinating is how gasoline prices are going down. I'm not attributing that to Jupiter retrograde in Taurus, but from what I understand about the whole, extraction of petroleum, it's gotten way more efficient over the past year. A lot of these petroleum companies have had to completely redo, how they work with extracting shale or oil or whatever they're getting. And instead of having a number of different wells that they will go to, they'll just work one and they'll make it way more efficient in the past. So, I think that's some good news that's come out of this. And maybe this has something to do with the retrograde, but I would say by and large, and this is a gambler's square, right? So if you're a betting person, and we're talking football or bowl games, I would say go with the underdog. Go with the covers. We keep it in the sports realm. All right, let's talk about our star of the day. I had two choices today. One was, you guys probably would have liked it more, I think, than the one that I chose. But I chose this one because the other was kind of tragic. All right, I'll show you guys what I mean. Let me get my banner up. By the way, Chris sent me some screenshots of some new products coming your way in 2024. Good stuff, really good stuff. So of course, this is our True Hemp Science Star of the Day. It's Mark. I fucked up his name. Mark Kais. Marty Kais. I love it. I love it. Let me see. Can I fix it? Hold on. I gotta see if I can fix this shit. Give me a second. I respect Mark. Mark is a hardworking motherfucker. This is what happens. So I was talking about Mars, Mercury, about that. Let me see if I can do this. Let me see if I can fix this thing. Hold on. Mardukais. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Let me do this thing. Out of respect for Mark, let's get this done. One more. Real time. Do it in real time, kids. Not quite the same black, but that's okay. Let's annotate this. Let's annotate this sucker. Here we go. All right. We're almost there. Almost there. Hold on. Hey. That's weird. That is really weird. I've never encountered this before. Let's try it again. Get out of here. There we go. No, that's not it. Damn. Hold on. I had this thing done. I know. One more time. All right, this should do it. Almost there. All right, here we go. Thank you for your patience. Out of respect for our star of the day. Out of respect for our star of the day, let's get rid of this one. And let's do where'd you go, Mark? All right. Here, let's try this. Come back here and I just had it up here. There it is. There it is. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your patience. There we go. All right, there's your star of the day, Mark Dice, also known as Mark Schuldice, which is his real name. Born in Racine, Wisconsin, on December 27th, 1977, which makes him a snake in Chinese astrology. So I watched Mark Dice. He does about a 15-minute show, 20-minute clip. This guy's been around forever. I remember I must have been in my 30s, maybe late 30s. And I think he was calling in as a teenager on CNN. No, C-SPAN. He would call in on C-SPAN and he would do prank phone calls on C-SPAN and talk about the Illuminati, right? I mean, like, he's not everybody's cup of tea. And I've heard some like weird things about Mark, but that aside, we're looking at this from an astrological perspective. And one of the things that really stood out when I looked at his chart is that he's got this grand trine right here, this grand trine in Earth. And he's got that Saturn at 0 Virgo. And what does he do? He makes a fucking video every single day. Every single day. Or for a while when he was out in Santa Monica or Venice Beach, he was doing the mic stuff. Nobody knew who he was, so he could get away. But now he's kind of well known, so people are less inclined, I think, to sort of spill their guts. But when he did that Man on the Street stuff, it was fucking hilarious. And so he's got this grand trine, Sun in Taurus, second house. He's a published author. He's got a new book out on Amazon. I guess it's The War on Conservatives, right? And Chiron, also in Taurus. Something happened to him in the first year of his life, which set him back a bit. And the thing that I notice about his chart is the conservative values, right? The guy, has conservative values. He's got Moon in Cancer, Jupiter in Cancer, which tend to be it's a very conservative sign, right? It's a conservative sign. And he works very hard at whatever you think of the guy, he works hard at what he does. And he's Sag rising, so he's going to be a quote unquote truth teller. And he's got Neptune in the first house, and Ceres in the first house, and Mercury in the first house, and Juno and Venus, all of them are in Sag. So what are you going to get with Mark Dice? You're going to get a big dose of what Mark thinks the truth is, right? But with the sun in front of everything, it's going to ultimately take shape in a far more kind of business corporatized fashion. Even though I wouldn't call him corporate, he's got a whole line of shirts that he does. Like he was one of the kind of early adopters with shirts and meme wear. Again, he's a published author. The guy, he's turned his kind of one-man crusade into an enterprise. So there's a little bit of an Alex Jones thing going on with him. Alex is born February 11th. So it puts his sun right here in the third house, almost like, frat brothers, kind of what they feel like. But what's interesting is that he shouldn't run away from conflict. But with the true node in Libra and Pluto here, he's much more well served by finding people that he can team up with and partner with, versus being kind of a one-man army. Like a one-man army doesn't work for him. But who knows? I don't know anything about his corporate structure or how he, who's behind the scene, who runs his business, how many people he employs. I have no idea about any of that. But he clearly needs it with the true node of Libra and Pluto here. And he's got Mars and Leo. And I think that's one of the reasons why he continues to do what he does, right? Like he has a passion, and that passion is connected into a lot of his Sagittarian material, and one of which is the Mars trine with Neptune, which is fairly creative. And if you go back in time and listen to some of his prank phone calls that he used to do on C-SPAN, they're fucking hilarious, right? He does have a Moon Pluto square. I think he may not talk about it very much, but I think Mark Dice could really hold a grudge. Really hold a grudge. And that Moon is in the 8th house. And of course, that's maternal, right? The force of the mother. And if anything, that's where he's most conflicted. He's good at the work, right? He's really good at the work. He's good at doing it every day. He's got Saturn in the 9th house. He's going to get better at what he does over time. He's going to, figure out how to take all this, kind of intense, truthy, super conjunctive Sagittarian energy and give it a point of focus in the 9th house. Publishing. But emotionally, I think he's probably a bit stunted. Like that's an area of his life where, he probably doesn't do very well. And he's very secretive about his emotions with the Moon in the 8th house. He's not going to let on. He's dealt with something though. He lost me. It's interesting to try to understand who or what Mark Dice's parents were. I wonder if his mother's like a lefty or something like that. Like a wobbly or a lefty, something a union woman. somewhere up there and working for Burlington Coat Factory in Wisconsin. Who knows, right? But there's definitely some pain there, and I think if you blow it up and extrapolate it out, this is very American. Like the moon in Cancer is very American, very conservative. So you might actually have some personal pain around this. And since we are dealing with a full moon, Dice is coming off of being born on a full moon. Pretty much, right? And full moon people are seen, they're recognized, they're they're kind of in the public eye. That's the nature of being born on the full moon. And he's uh, no exception to the rule. So the biggest challenge is just the first house in trying to sort through all of these Sagittarian. He needs to have a daily thing, right? He needs to have his 15 minutes of telling the world about the dumb liberals or whatever. Mark's not a dumb guy though. He actually kind of knows what the score is, and he's highly limited by YouTube. And again, there's some weird things in his past that people have alluded to. I'm not going to get into them too much, but I do think that also with this Mars square with Chiron, right? There's a sense that he may not always be as confident at times as he likes. And something happened to him between 0 and 2, which sort of flipped him, right? And anybody that's got Chiron and Taurus, you're trying to figure out who you are, why you're here, and what the hell this place is all about. And so for Mark, that happened very early on in his life. All right, True Hemp Science, your one-stop shop for all things CBD, and some of the best CBD you will find on the internet. Just type in 15MINS when you spend $100 more, and you'll get free goodies. And if you spend $150 or more, you get free shipping. And there's always a 30-day money-back guarantee. And keep your eyes on the lookout for Chris's new products. He's got some absolutely gems lined up for 2024. All right. That's going to do it, boys and girls. We're out of here. I'll be back. What's today? I'll be back tomorrow with some more Astro Weather. Got a big day Friday. We have Astro Weather. We have the Friday forecast is coming back on Friday. And we're going to have my man from Symbolic Studies. He'll be on here. And then I'm going to be joining Beth Martins on her show on Friday afternoon. So if any of you follow Beth, I think it's around 3 p.m. Standard Time. So there you go. Have a great day. Have a blessed day. Use your head in order to shine what's real to your heart. 2 simple as possible. I'm Robert Phoenix, and this has been the Astro Weather. Bye for now.